Today, we're going to recount a story that's genuinely chilling. It's a really stark illustration, of how choosing the wrong life partner, well, how it can lead to just devastating consequences.
Absolutely. The narrative we're looking at today focuses on a woman named Laura Ackerson. She was a mother of two, and her life just took this horrifying turn.
Yeah. At the time these events really kicked off, Laura was only 27. She was going through a really difficult divorce, fighting hard for custody of her two little kids.
Right, and by all accounts, her children were everything to her, her absolute priority. She was really determined to get primary custody.
And then, right in the middle of this intense legal fight, the unthinkable happens. Laura vanishes completely.
Gone. It sends this shiver down your spine, doesn't it? What happened? Where did she go?
Exactly. Our aim today is to recount this deeply disturbing case, to try and piece together the events that led up to Laura's disappearance.
And to really understand the gravity of it all, it helps to look back a bit at Laura's early life. She had a fair amount of instability growing up. Her parents divorced when she was young, and she moved back and forth between them quite a lot. That kind of constant change, well, it creates a challenging foundation for anyone.
Sure, I can imagine. But despite those early difficulties, Laura really worked to build a stable life for herself, right? She moved to North Carolina.
That's right. She built a career there in graphic design and marketing. Then later, she moved to Kingston to live with her brother.
Okay. And it was in Kingston she met her close friend, Heidi.
Yes, exactly. They became very close friends there.
Then in 2007, her life takes this pivotal turn. She meets Grant Hayes.
At a bar, yes. Grant was a musician, singer, guitarist, and he apparently had this captivating charm, something that just drew Laura right in.
And things moved incredibly fast between them.
Unbelievably fast. Within just 2 months, they were married.
2 months, wow.
Yeah. And what's really striking is that Laura didn't even tell Heidi or her brother about it at first. The wedding was, private, almost secretive.
So when did she eventually tell him?
It was about 2 months after they got married that she finally let her inner circle know.
And how did they react? I mean, that's incredibly fast.
They were deeply concerned. Worried about Laura's impulsiveness, maybe her tendency to trust people a bit too quickly.
Understandable concerns, I suppose. But initially the marriage seemed okay.
At first, yes. It seemed happy. And soon after, Laura found out she was pregnant with their first child, a son they named Little Grant, also called Frank.
But that happiness didn't last long.
No, tragically short-lived. Grant's behavior started to shift in really concerning ways.
How so?
He began trying to isolate Laura, cut her off from her support system, especially Heidi, even her own brother.
Oh, that's a classic red flag.
Absolutely. He'd claim they were, bad influences on the baby. He'd interrupt her phone calls with Heidi, act hostile when her brother visited. It's textbook isolation tactics.
Creating dependence, making it harder for her to leave or get help.
Precisely. And alongside that, Grant held some very peculiar beliefs, especially about vaccines.
Right, you mentioned that. What was it?
He believed they were linked to autism, specifically in black children, and refused to let their son be vaccinated. Completely unfounded, of course.
Yeah. And his focus shifted too.
Completely. As time went on, Grant became increasingly self-absorbed, neglecting Laura, neglecting their child. He got more and more preoccupied with, other women, his band, his music.
And his beliefs got even stranger.
Much stranger. He started talking about the world ending in 2012, needing to build a spaceship.
A spaceship? Seriously?
Seriously. He even claimed he was an alien himself and that the government was controlled by aliens.
Okay, that's alarming. Did he listen to reason at all?
Not at all. Completely resistant. And he demanded that everyone around him believe these things too.
And on top of all this, he wasn't faithful.
No. He was unfaithful multiple times. There seemed to be a pattern, actually, exploiting women for personal gain, especially targeting those who were wealthy or well-connected.
So in 2009, they moved to the Virgin Islands.
Yes, for Grant's clothing business idea. It had some initial success, apparently, but then he came up with this truly outlandish plan.
Let me guess, something bizarre.
Bringing elephants to the island. For tourism.
Elephants. In the Virgin Islands.
Okay, right. And it was there, in the Virgin Islands, that Grant met Amanda Perry.
Amanda Perry. The name sounds familiar. Wasn't she an actress?
She was. A former actress, wealthy, divorced. Some people might know her from the show The Facts of Life.
Right, okay. And Grant started manipulating her.
Almost immediately. For financial benefit. And what was particularly cruel, he would talk about Amanda to Laura, praising her, her money, her connections,
While still married to Laura, that's awful.
causing Laura immense emotional pain. She desperately wanted to leave, go back to her brother.
But she couldn't.
She couldn't. She found out she was pregnant again with Grant's second child.
Oh, Laura. So their second son was born there.
Yes, Caden, also called Central, but he was born with health issues, complications that needed specialized medical care they just couldn't get on the island.
So they had to return to North Carolina.
They had to, for Caden's treatment. But Grant was apparently resentful about leaving his business and, well, Amanda.
And things got worse back in NC.
Much worse. Grant relapsed into heavy drinking, drug use. He became completely inconsiderate at home, loud music all the time, inviting strangers over.
While still involved with Amanda.
Oh, yes. Continuing his relationship with Amanda online very publicly, romantic posts, Grant declaring his love, saying he wanted to marry her, all while Laura knew.
But could she bear that?
It's hard to imagine. Then, in 2010, Grant finally made the decision. He was leaving Laura for Amanda, planning to move to New York.
And Laura, what could she do?
For the sake of the kids, she reluctantly accepted it. A devastating blow.
But it didn't end there, did it? The manipulation continued.
No, it didn't. Shortly after, Grant contacted Laura. He wanted to take Caden, the younger son, to New York. Said it was for a diaper modeling gig.
A diaper modeling gig? Seriously.
That's what he claimed. Promised to bring him back in 2 days. Laura was hesitant, naturally.
But she agreed.
Eventually, yes. She agreed.
And Grant didn't bring him back.
Of course not. It was becoming a pattern. Laura found out the truth later, on Facebook of all places.
What did she see?
Pictures. Grant had married Amanda, and Caden, her little son, was at the wedding.
Oh my God. While she was still legally married to Grant.
Exactly. She was shocked, confused, devastated.
Did she try to contact Grant?
She did, and his response was just unbelievable. He denied they were ever legally married, claimed no documents were ever signed.
What, after years together, 2 children?
That's what he claimed, and that's when Laura realized, the full extent of it, like the long-term deception, that he'd likely been using her from the very start.
And he was using the children too, for money.
Yes, exploiting them, using Caden for more modeling things. Laura was just trapped, desperate, vulnerable.
So she tried to get custody.
She pleaded for custody, yes, but Grant and Amanda refused, and then Grant retaliated. He filed for emergency custody himself, falsely painting Laura as unstable.
So what's emergency custody exactly? Is that permanent?
No, it's a temporary measure courts can grant in urgent situations. Laura would still have needed to file for formal custody to get a more permanent arrangement.
Okay. And did the court grant this emergency custody?
Initially, yes. The court granted Grant temporary emergency custody of both boys. But, like I said, the door was still open for Laura to file for formal custody herself.
But she was in a tough spot, right? No job, no stable housing.
A very difficult position. Years with Grant had left her completely disadvantaged in those areas. She knew those would be weaknesses in a custody fight. She turned to her friend, Heidi.
And what did Heidi advise?
Smart advice. Document everything. Every single instance of Grant's behavior towards the kids, towards her. Keep detailed notes.
Laura did that.
She took it to heart. Started keeping meticulous notes during her visits with the boys.
She also started looking into his behavior more formally.
Yes, she began researching personality disorders. Based on everything Grant had done, she suspected he might have antisocial personality disorder. What people often call sociopathy.
That makes sense, given the manipulation, lack of empathy.
Exactly. That disregard for others' rights, the manipulative patterns, it fit. She even joined online support groups, trying to gather information, compare his behavior.
So at this point, what were her visitation rights like?
It's just weekends and holidays, limited contact.
And Grant made even that difficult.
He did. During phone calls, he'd blast loud music in the background and make it hard for her to even talk to her sons.
And the online stuff continued.
Oh, yeah. Disparaging posts about her on Facebook, painting her negatively, even calling her a stalker.
A stalker.
Yeah.
While he was the one causing all the problem.
It's classic projection. And then he escalated things further. He falsely accused Laura of bruising the children during one of her visits, tried to get the police involved, anything to discredit her.
That's terrifying. Laura must have been scared.
She was terrified for her safety. She told others, if anything happens to me, an accident, suicide, it's Grant. She said he'd threatened her before.
Did the court order any kind of evaluations?
Yes, thankfully. Psychological evaluations for both of them.
And how did those turn out?
Laura's was positive, just a minor recommendation for co-parenting support, probably linked to her own unstable childhood.
And Grant's.
A completely different story. It revealed his utter lack of involvement in basic childcare diapers, cooking, bathing, minimal presence even during Caden's surgery.
So a clear picture of neglect.
Absolutely. The evaluator recommended Grant undergo a full psychiatric evaluation.
Did he do it?
No. Significantly, he never followed through on that recommendation.
So what did the court decide about custody after the evaluations?
They implemented a 2-3-2-3 schedule. So basically equal parenting time for both Laura and Grant.
How did they react to that?
Grant was reportedly unhappy with it. Laura, well, she was said to be relatively accepting, maybe saw it as a step towards stability.
But things took another dark turn soon after.
Very soon after. On July 12th, 2011, Grant had the kids. He called Laura.
What did he want?
He invited her to meet them the next day, July 13th, at a place called Monkey Joe's in Raleigh, a children's play place.
And Laura agreed.
She did. Made plans to drive from Kingston to Raleigh to see her boys.
But she also had a work call scheduled that morning, July 13th.
That's right, with her friend Shawana, 9:00 a.m. But 9:00 a.m. came and went. Laura didn't call, didn't answer her phone.
And Shawana got worried.
Increasingly worried. She knew Lara wouldn't just miss that call.
So she went to Laura's apartment.
Yes. Drove over there, knocked, no answer. The apartment seemed empty. No sign of a struggle, nothing obviously wrong inside, but Laura wasn't there.
Did Shawana find anything?
She found Laura's 2 diaries. They had detailed schedules, and the entry for that day, Wednesday, July 13th.
What did it say?
It clearly showed Laura's plan. Travel to Raleigh to see her children.
So Shawana put it together.
She did. She had this strong, sinking feeling that something terrible had happened to Laura after she went to Raleigh to meet Grant.
And she reported her missing.
She made the difficult decision, yes. Filed a missing person report with the Kingston police.
So the police investigation starts. What did they look at first?
Naturally, they focused on the custody battle with Grant, reviewed surveillance footage from Laura's apartment complex.
Did that show anything?
It confirmed she left her apartment that morning, July 13th, just as planned.
What about her phone? Could they track it?
They tracked her cell phone. Her last outgoing call was around 5:00 p.m. that day, likely to Grant, probably saying she was arriving.
And the GPS?
And the GPS data showed her phone stopped at a shopping center near Grant's place in Raleigh. And then it moved to Grant's apartment.
Right to his doorstep. Yeah. So he had to know something.
It certainly looked that way. All the evidence pointed towards Grant having knowledge of what happened.
So the police contacted him?
They did, initially by phone. He claimed he was busy, preparing to move out of his Raleigh place.
How did he sound?
Calm. Composed. Too calm, maybe.
What was his story about seeing Laura?
He said he last saw her on Wednesday, July 13th at Monkey Joe's around 6:40 p.m. He threw in this claim that Laura wanted to sign over full custody for $25,000.
$25,000 after fighting so hard? That sounds unlikely.
Highly unlikely. He said they talked briefly. She left with the kids, then came back alone around 9:30 p.m., looking sweaty and tired, and left again by 10 p.m.
A very specific timeline. What about returning the kids?
He told police he was supposed to return the boys to Laura on Friday, July 15th, at a gas station near Wilson, but he claimed she never showed up.
Did the police check that? The gas station part?
They did, and surprisingly, surveillance footage confirmed Grant was at that gas station with the children on Friday, waiting.
So that part was true. Did he agree to more questioning?
No, he refused to come to the station, offered to email instead, but then provided nothing useful, just stonewalled them.
Meanwhile, Laura's car, credit cards, phone, all silent.
Completely silent after July 13th, like she'd just dropped off the face of the earth.
Until your car was found.
Right, July 20th, abandoned. At the Camden Forest Apartments in Raleigh.
Wait, wasn't that where she used to live? With Grant?
The very same complex. And the car had damage and, crucially, no fingerprints inside. Wiped clean.
And that complex, where was it in relation to Grant's current place?
Directly across the street.
Across the street. Okay, the suspicion level just went through the roof.
Absolutely. It was incredibly suspicious. Then investigators checked Grant's cell phone records more closely.
And found something.
A big something. An undisclosed trip to Richmond, Texas, right during the time Laura disappeared.
Texas. He never mentioned Texas.
Exactly. It completely contradicted his story of staying in North Carolina, packing to move.
So the police went to Texas.
Kingston PD drove straight there, an 18-hour drive. They knew this was a major lead.
While they were heading to Texas, What about Grant's apartment back in Raleigh? Did they search it?
They did, and found some really disturbing things. Rich's soft scrub cleaner scattered around, bleach residue everywhere.
It's trying to clean something up.
Looked like it. There were drag marks on the carpet. The bathroom was empty but smelled strongly of bleach. The bed linens were stripped, hidden in a closet. And on the mattress,
A stain?
a reddish-brown stain. They did a luminol test for blood, but it came back inconclusive, unfortunately.
But they found something else, didn't they? A note.
Yes, a handwritten note on the counter, supposedly from Laura.
What did it say?
It said she wanted $25,000 to give Grant full custody of both kids and drop all court proceedings.
The same story Grant told police. Was it her handwriting?
Investigators noted it looks similar to her diary entries, but the circumstances were highly suspicious.
Meanwhile, in Texas, the detectives found Grant and Amanda had visited someone.
Yes, Amanda's sister Karen, she lived there in Richmond.
What did Karen tell them?
She confirmed the visit. Grant and Amanda arrived in a U-Haul truck full of stuff, including furniture Karen recognized from Grant's Raleigh apartment.
Did she notice anything unusual?
She did. A cooler and a large duffel bag in the truck caught her eye.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, something very strange. Grant and Amanda borrowed her canoe, went out onto Oyster Creek, this waterway behind her house, known for having alligators for a really long time.
Alligators. That sounds ominous. Did Amanda say anything to her sister?
Karen said Amanda made some vague comment about harming Laura, no details. Karen offered to help her get a lawyer, but Amanda refused.
Did Karen suspect something?
Deeply. She felt Amanda was hiding something, and Amanda eventually admitted to her sister that she was.
Did Karen give the police anything?
Crucial evidence: a bloody knife she'd found, cleaned, and put away. A towel Amanda used to wipe the cooler, which she gave back unwashed. And she showed them disturbed areas in her hog pen, like something had been buried.
A bloody knife.
Yeah.
And the hog pen. This is getting grim.
It gets worse. Karen's son told the police Grant had been asking him really weird questions.
Like what?
Things like, do alligators eat people? Do pigs eat people? Are there sharks around here?
Oh my God. He was basically asking how to dispose of a body.
That's certainly what it sounded like. Based on all this, the police immediately got divers into Oyster Creek.
And they found
human remains, hidden in the vegetation, torso fragments, an arm, a leg, no head.
How horrific.
They also found a human vertebra. Initially, they thought it was just a tree branch, but thankfully collected it.
Did they search Karen's property more?
Yes. Found the large duffel bag Karen mentioned and several coolers.
And inside the coolers?
A receipt from a hardware store for muriatic acid, a large trash can, and gloves.
Muriatic acid, isn't that highly corrosive?
Extremely. Used for cleaning concrete, but also capable of dissolving organic material.
So the Texas police called Kingston PD.
Immediately. Told them about the remains, the acid, everything linking Grant and Amanda to Oyster Creek.
So Kingston police knew where to find Grant and Amanda.
Yes. They went straight to Grant's parents' house, found Grant and Amanda living there.
What happened then?
They impounded Grant's car, found personal belongings of both of them inside. Initially, Grant actually seemed cooperative, like he didn't know what they'd found in Texas.
But then his story changed online.
Yeah, he posted on Facebook saying Laura was unwell, asking for prayers, started making up stories about her running away. Total fabrication.
But the police weren't buying it.
Not for a second. With the evidence from Texas, Karen's testimony, they arrested both Grant Hayes and Amanda Perry. First-degree murder of Laura Ackerson. Even though the remains weren't formally identified yet, the evidence was overwhelming.
Did they search the parents' house after the arrests?
They did, and found something telling. A draft of a press release Grant had written, appealing for Laura's return.
So after everything they found, that seems incredibly cynical.
Exactly. Completely insincere, manipulative. During interrogations, predictably, they blamed each other.
Amanda tried to play the victim.
Claimed she was also manipulated by Grant, just like Laura. Drew parallels between her situation and Laura's tragic experience.
Did more evidence surface?
Yes. Investigators went through the trash from Grant's last apartment again. Found women's jeans, underwear, a face mask, a vacuum cleaner, a bathroom curtain.
And DNA.
DNA from the gloves found in Texas matched Laura's. And maybe even more damning.
What?
They found Laura's blood on Grant's boat in Texas.
His boat. So he likely used it in Oyster Creek.
That was the strong implication. The medical examiner looked at the bone fragments found in the creek.
What did they find?
Clear signs of acid corrosion, consistent with muriatic acid. The enamel on Laura's teeth was completely gone, dissolved by the acid.
So Grant tried to dissolve her body.
Police strongly suspected that was his plan, yes. But he wasn't entirely successful.
And they had footage of Amanda getting rid of the acid.
Yes. Surveillance video surfaced showing Amanda disposing of muriatic acid, implicating her further in the cover-up.
What did the pathologist determine as the cause of death?
Likely asphyxiation. There was evidence of blunt force trauma to her neck, consistent with strangulation, but the dismemberment and decomposition made definitive findings difficult.
Still, the evidence pointed squarely at Grant, with Amanda helping.
Overwhelmingly so. Grant was the primary perpetrator. Amanda likely assisted significantly, especially after the fact.
What was Grant's official story to the police then? He blamed Amanda.
Completely. He claimed Laura came over, Amanda got angry, accused Laura of wanting to take their newborn baby. Grant and Amanda had a child together by then.
Okay.
Grant said he wasn't in the room, heard yelling, then found Laura dead. Claimed he only helped Amanda dispose of the body because he was afraid for her mental state.
Seriously. He feared for her mental state.
That was his claim. He described dismembering the body, putting parts in coolers, driving to Texas, and said he disposed of the remains in the creek alone.
Did the police believe any of that?
Not for a minute. Highly implausible. Plus, they found other things.
Like what?
Lyrics from a song Grant wrote, containing violent threats specifically aimed at Laura.
Chilling. And the purchases he made.
Right. Evidence showed he bought a reciprocating saw, blades, a tarp, a large duffel bag at Walmart right before she vanished. Later exchanged the duffel for coolers.
The saw for dismemberment. And the coolers.
Fit the narrative perfectly. And that Home Depot receipt from Texas for the muriatic acid. An employee remembered Grant asking how to get rid of the smell of dead pigs before buying it.
Asking how to cover up a smell before buying acid. Unbelievable. What was Amanda's story then? It must have been different.
Very different. She painted Grant as abusive, controlling. Said on the night Laura disappeared, she was watching a movie with her kids while Grant and Laura talked custody.
What did she say happened?
She claimed she saw Laura slide that $250,000 custody agreement across the table, which angered Amanda. Then Laura asked to hold Amanda's baby. Amanda refused. Laura got upset, damaged things.
Okay, so she admits there was conflict. Then what?
Grant told Amanda to take her kids to the bedroom. 5 minutes later, Grant supposedly said Laura hit her head, needed a hospital. Then told Amanda to take the kids out for chicken.
So she left the apartment.
According to her story, yes. When she returned, Grant said Laura had left and was fine. She claimed Grant left the apartment multiple times that night and was gone in the morning.
So she's portraying herself as unaware.
Completely. Said she called her older daughter, Cheyenne, to watch the kids, went grocery shopping at Target. Then Grant called, told her to buy bleach and gloves, suggested the Texas trip, claiming they had to wait till Friday for Laura to pick up the kids.
And the trip to Texas.
She maintained they drove there under the guise of donating furniture, claimed she had no idea Laura was dead or that her body was in the U-Haul until midnight in Texas.
Grant confessed then, according to her.
Yes, she said Grant confessed and told her she had to help dispose of the body. She admitted being there at Oyster Creek, but claimed Grant did everything she didn't want to see, and she was coerced, forced to help.
Two very different stories, both self-serving. So it went to trial.
In 2014, Grant Hayes and Amanda Perry both denied guilt, of course.
What was the verdict for Grant?
Guilty. First-degree murder. The evidence of premeditation was just overwhelming. He got life in prison, no possibility of parole.
And Amanda.
Convicted as an accessory after the fact to murder. She received 13 to 16 years. An accessory after the fact basically means someone who helps an offender after the crime is committed, knowing about it, but didn't participate in the actual killing.
Did they stay married?
No. They divorced in 2014. And later, in 2017, Amanda was transferred to Texas.
Why Texas?
She faced charges there related to the disposal of the body. Received an additional 20-year sentence in Texas for tampering with evidence and abuse of a corpse.
So significant prison time for both. What happened to the children? Grant and Laura's sons.
They were placed in the custody of Grant's parents, the paternal grandparents.
Yeah, and Amanda's children, the one she had with Grant.
Her older daughter, Cheyenne, took custody of that child.
Did Grant try to interfere even then?
He did. Even from prison, he tried to interfere with Cheyenne's custody, falsely claiming she was unstable. Just continued the pattern of manipulation.
Unbelievable. And that brings us to the end of Laura Ackerson's tragic story.
It's just a profoundly unsettling case, a terrible, stark tragedy. Laura was clearly a devoted mother who endured horrific manipulation and paid the ultimate price.
Grant's actions. The extreme, calculated manipulation, imposing those bizarre beliefs, it's deeply troubling. A chilling reminder of the potential for deception, for harm within relationships.
It truly is heartbreaking, thinking about Laura trying so hard to protect her children and the absolute injustice of her murder being permanently separated from them like that.
Yeah. As we reflect on this, Laura Ackerson's fate really stands as this stark, devastating warning, doesn't it? About the potential dangers of choosing the wrong life partner.
It's a tragic case study. It really underscores how those choices can lead to unimaginable, irreversible consequences.
We should mention, the information we've recounted today is based on, publicly available internet sources, documents, testimonies, court records. We acknowledge there might be unintentional inaccuracies or maybe omissions in retelling such a complex case.
Absolutely. And if any of you listening have more accurate or perhaps additional information about this case, we genuinely encourage you to share your insights with us.
And for those of you who might be new to our show, Horror Docs, thank you so much for tuning in to this recounting. If you found this narrative compelling, please do consider giving us a like, sharing it with others who might be interested, and subscribing to our channel for more content.
Thank you for joining us today.
Until next time, please take care.